the living being resting on the main prana, energy power, enjoys the results of activities, and the super soul acting as witness enables him to enjoy them. Those who are well versed in knowledge of Brahman, and those householders who, that means it can be done by anybody if they use that word, not just priests, and those householders who carefully follow the Vedic regulations say that the difference between the two is like the difference between a shadow and the sun. You are the sun, not the shadow. Become yourself. Those are great words. Once reading scripture such as these, the depth of knowledge, the knowledge of our ancestors, the writing of our ancestors should never be taken at face value. The depth of knowledge in our Indo-Germanic tradition, which is my personal passion, is dazzlingly apparent. I'll start rounding up. Sticks and stones, I'm sorry, that was on my mind all the time this week. Sticks and stones must never stop anyone saying their truth. How can any liberal actually stand in that position? What has happened to them? But they do, okay? Speak your own truth. An anarchist statement which makes members of our movement more liberal than the so-called libertarians of our own epoch. I'm going to cut this bit out. For us, nature is God and God is nature, Spinoza. Deus sive natura. This may be why cultures are clearly analogous to natural habitats, having evolved from our human dialogue with living environments through the course of untold centuries, and which demand both our participation and comprehension. That's why in the past education used to inspire a child to ask into the world, and nowadays it's just telling them this is a true story, use certain words in the exam and you will get a grade A. I've never taught at that level. I always taught at a rather august level. When I was told this at a recent conference, I could barely believe what I was being told. That is primary and secondary and GCSE and A-level British education now. Absolutely staggering. What did our ancestors want? They wanted to make men, women and children strong and resistant to external political control. Who am I quoting there? Thomas Jefferson, that famous Nazi. Or cynically orchestrated social coercion, because that is what is happening now. What our ancestors want? They wanted to give communities with an understanding of their place and purpose in our glorious continuum. On a personal level, I suppose this comes down to the fact I do not want to see a Tesco superstore, a McDonald's or a Mothercare when I visit Beijing. I really don't want to. You know, enough's enough. Are people truly being liberated when large corporations are given the reins of education? What do you expect them to do? Oh, I will highly educate you so you never buy my product. You're all parents, I imagine. Fight! This is a time for warfare, not argument. Jonathan Bowden said, I loved that quote, I remember it well. You know, you can fight with the brain or the fist, okay, mine is with the mouth and the tongue. But we all need to fight, and the time is now. Not in 10 years, not in 5 years, now. Because God knows what it will be like in 10 years' time. Do we honestly think that if corporations are given the reins of education, critical thinking will be anything apart from the first victim of financial cutbacks? Do we really think anything else? Let alone when ideas surrounding individual empowerment, academic excellence and experimental creativity are openly decried now. Oh, you think you're different? Never surrender to childish admonitions of good guys versus bad guys. I noticed that's how these meetings are referred to in the press. I can't imagine anything more childish. If anything, we are the good guys. Yeah. We believe in excellence, intelligence, beauty, and all the rest of it. Hey, we're the good guys. mean that. I genuinely mean that. And why are we the good guys? Because we reject commodification, which is the new religion of the liberal elite. Everyone must have their say. We all have the right to be the best we can become without artificial barriers to this evolutionary process being erected. We've got to leave behind us, in my humble opinion, the political turbulence in Europe about 70 years ago. It's history. They had their problems, they dealt with it their way. We've got our problems. Believe it or not, they're much more complicated. And we can't put off decision-making much longer. Otherwise, other younger and vigorous powers will start telling us what to do. As you may have worked out, I'm obsessed with Chinese culture. It absolutely fascinates me. Any day now, it will be the new economic power, the global force. America's finished, live with it. And we are now going to be told very, very soon who we can trade with and why, because we won't be able to stand up to them anymore. That is just around the corner. It's already started. Some of my young undergraduates are already doing courses in Mandarin and going to Beijing. They're not silly. They may be brainwashed, but they're not silly. Because that's where the money's going. And where the money goes, that's where civilization is, whatever that word means. And that's where political power is. And I'm not having a go at the Chinese. Remember, it's one of my personal obsessions. But let's all talk about real politics and real reality, because that is happening as we all sit here this afternoon. Let's round up. Hence, I would argue that any and every notion of empowerment, including education, including gyms, I need to go to a gym, including Qi, Gi, Vril, Prana, not only have a place in our modern society, but must be recovered as the tools and artillery for the next generation. Otherwise, what world are we really leaving them? Because that is nightmarish. Let me use this shameless opportunity to finish with one of my own poems. This comes from my second collection, The Grammar of Witchcraft, $8.99, available in any major bookstore. I am perfectly willing to sign you a copy. No, you're not getting one free. So, to D. Jonathan Jones, a secret modern poet who I quite like. Spirits engineer English space with pure cascading waters and ancient juggernauting ice, to move pollen-drenched soils across emerald tablets fit for blessing. Although so cold is this chill night, you sing life's own song, assault against snow, warming our mechanized blood into a greater becoming. Like a reed warbler on a reed bed, adding voice to the euphonic chorus, at the rising of bashful ransoms, as authentic as the day is long, marking the end of winter's melt. Let's end this winter and take power back for ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
We've no time for questions, but I'd like to say, be the sun, not the shadow. Dare to be yourself. And what an original, intelligent, interesting, entertaining, colourful character.
I'm free for bar mitzvahs, parties.
The new Jonathan Bowden.
Oh.
Thank you, Parry. So, break back in 10 minutes, please. 10 minutes.